country had offices here. If you had a job with the railroad, you had a good job. There were garment companies here that provided second household income. Actually, for most, the quality of life was pretty good. And then after we started building these super highways all over the country, all of the investment here in the Fulton, South Fulton area began to withdraw. The railroad rethought their business plan here, and they moved their engineering offices out. If you remember that, the office set up on the hill over there where the old railroad station was. And the freight companies, we were a freight mecca. We were the hub of freight distribution for this whole region because of the rail and highway network. We had 2 interstate highways. Still got them. They're US 51, US 49. But interstate highways today don't look like those highways. And there were communities all over this country that were disenfranchised by this major investment that the federal government made in the highway system. So we began our economic decline. We had a good school system. We had good jobs, a good quality of life. And so you go to the 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s. If you live here, you know what I'm talking about. If you're from here and you visit here, you know what I'm talking about. You can see it. And if you're traveling here with someone that lived here, you've been traveling here for a time, you know what I'm talking about. We have suffered major economic decline. Our population, for example, in Fulton County was 15,500 at the end of World War II. Today it's 6,400. So when you go from 15,500 people to 6,400 people, you know what happens? There's a huge economic decline that happens because of that. And if you're fortunate enough to get a college degree, full way you get a college degree, the chances are you never came back because there was nothing for you here. Some did, but we've gone through this economic decline. And we used to have movie theaters, car dealerships. Remember, people used to travel for miles and miles around to eat dinner here, to stay at the Dusona Hotel. I remember when I became city manager at Fulton, God, when was that? 1973, I believe it was, before that. I found a warrant in the old wall when we were moving out of the old city hall there, issued to Buffalo Bill Cody and the Rough Riders of the World. Now, in the old Opera House, we had the best entertainment there was available in America. So we've lost all of that. So people wanted me to say just a little bit about a renaissance. Are we experiencing a renaissance? I think we are. In 2022, Fulton County was designated as an RPN community. That may not mean a whole lot to you, but what it means to us, it generated grant money, it generated opportunity. And our first act when that happened was to incorporate the city of South Fulton in that RPN. Since that RPN has been designated, we've gotten over $36 million in grants. That's almost $1 million a month in federal grants that's been invested in this community. But that's not the good news. The good news is that in private investment, we've had 3.5 times as much grant money. Now, no community can survive and thrive off of grant money. But grant money can get you started. What we thrive off of is private investment. So the private investment that we're having in this community is allowing our economy to rebound. Now, in 2022, the entry-level manufacturing wage here was $12 an hour. Today, it's almost $16. That's a measure of return on investment. So we've got all these, and there's a lot of local people involved. John Alvey is the chairman of our ambulance business. John and I have been in the ambulance business since 1970. And I remember sitting in my office when the funeral home director walked in one day. He had a handful full of keys and he dropped them on my desk. And I said, "What's that?" He said, "You are now in the ambulance business." So the ambulance service gets it from a funeral home service. I always kind of thought that was a conflict of interest. Didn't have a difference. But it shifted to that to the public service. John and I got involved in that, and we have had ups and downs. And right now we're doing pretty good. We've got a really, really good staff that are out for service, and we've got a good board. And John's chairman of that board, and John's also on a RPN committee. And we meet every 2 weeks. And there are people on that call from Washington, from Frankfurt, from North Dakota, from Arizona, from Texas, all over. Federal people that are on that call every 2 weeks to help us plan and decide what we're trying to do and to secure funding for what we're trying to do. So if you drive around town, you see, you might see for the first time a trackle in town building something instead of tearing something down. So my hat's off to the mayor and the city manager. One other point. When I was city manager in Fulton for 13 years, it was not permitted for the city manager of Fulton and South Fulton to talk. We just didn't get along. You know that. If you lived here, you know that. And we had a huge hurdle to overcome. And I'm happy to report to you today that hurdle, that state line has been erased. It is a blur in our memory. And I give thanks to the city manager of South Fulton and the city commission in South Fulton, city manager of Fulton, and the city commission of Fulton. They have turned their back on the historical attitude we have had about working together. I'm telling you, I told somebody the other day, they said, why do you include South Fulton in everything? South Fulton contributes more to the economy of Fulton County than Fulton does. Okay. And if you don't know that, you need to know that. But you need to know what the facts are. And Fulton, Kentucky cannot have a Renaissance period without involving South Fulton. We are all one place. And if we ever forget that again, then we'll go back to where we were. So, John, we're in a good place, and I know it's hot out here. I'm not going to take more time, but this is a great building here, not because of its historical value of construction and architecture, but the people that came out of this school are out in this community and other communities doing great things, and that's the return. Thank you very much.
Blake is in on who design asking this complete South. He was in charge of putting the sign up. We appreciate that. He's here this morning. Raise your hand, Blake. So, we need to honor our young people. He's doing good for himself. He's making a good life for himself. Another person I want to talk about is Miss Linda Wynn, Tennessee Historical Commission, who worked tirelessly to get this project over the finish line, and we're so proud of that. When this school was started in 1926, my first principal was Professor E.W. Casey. His daughter was supposed to be here this morning. I don't know if
right here.
Right here. Raise your hand. Glad to have you. Our second principal, Professor Dumas. They didn't have any kids, but they made a big difference in our lives. And the last principal here was Miss Hattie Vanderford. Spent a lot of time in our house. One of my best friends, Drew. Back here, raise your hand, Drew.
All right, now.
I just want to mention what changed most of our lives was a little lady that we had in the first grade. She had a cloakroom. You know what she told me? She said, boy, I taught your mama. You didn't get by with anything. Won't either. She didn't whoop through your pants. She took you back there and put you over that chair. And she worked on it. And it made a difference. And we had Miss Cassie. Okay. She had a strap. And we like to see her. She get that strap. You get one, she get one. Professor Dumas, he was a baseball. Professor Bond, nobody get him. He was a baseball coach. That field right out there. Springtime. Oh, we used to have the field day. All the black schools in Obion County would come here in May before school dismissed. We had different events, and we enjoyed that. We had Mr. Baker, Mr. Holloman, Mr. Keys, Evans. Somebody help me, who am I missing? We used to call him Bubble Jaw, Harrison, Miss Bean. So, and the Jim was in a few minutes ago, it made a difference because I can look out on this crowd this morning. Mike, who was on here a few minutes ago, Mike retired as administrator of the VA hospital in Danville, Illinois. He moved all over the VA system. Jake Robinson, college had a baseball coach. He played ball at Adelbert State, and was it Belmont where he ended up today? He coached at Tennessee State and Kentucky State. Laura.
Put it to your mouth.
It's where's Laura? Laura's a young lady was working with Discovery Park as an intern. She's doing the oral history of Rosenwald School. We put together a display at Discovery Park last year. She's gonna be around today from 10:30 to 4:30. Be around tonight, on the top, talking to students that we haven't talked to. We have this oral history that we have in the Middle Tennessee State University did an oral history on this school too. Jason, I can't think of his last name, but he called and he interviewed some of us too. Okay, Laura.
Thank you so much. It's such an honor to be with you all here today, to be able to see the gym in person. I live in Memphis. I came up here today to be with you all. And I just wanted to share a little bit more detail. We'll be at the Pontotoc Community Center in the back room there, starting at 12:30 all the way up to 5:30. So during the free time between now and the banquet, there's 30-minute time slots. I have a sign-up sheet here. And we want to be able to prioritize, especially folks who are coming in from out of town, who don't live in this region, so that we can make sure to capitalize on the time that you are here and enjoying the time together. And I also have a separate sign-up sheet for those who live in this region and may want to share some of your memories later on, so we can get your contact information and follow up with you. But I'm just so honored to hear the few oral histories that I've done so far with folks, just hearing about the teachers and administrators who poured into you, who believed in you from day one, and really set you up for a lifetime of success is really, really inspiring. I think more and more people need to hear this. They need to know where we've come from so that we can look more to the future and be able to make better decisions in the future as well. So I honor you all here today, and I hope that you'll be able to join us at some point this afternoon. You can come see me to sign up.
You got me? Mm-hmm.
So you got someone on this side.
You out here to leave.
What you say? Okay.
All these